Now we're being asked in number 10 whether we've proven that exactly 60% of kissing couples, and again here they mean all kissing couples, lean to the right, and why or why not. So we did find that we could not reject the null hypothesis that pi equals 0.6. We found that 0.6 is a plausible value. But note to self, anytime they ask whether you've proven, probably the answer is no. We haven't proven that 0.6 is the definite value for the parameter. It is one plausible value for the parameter, but there may be other plausible values as well. So now we want to zoom in on which values for pi are plausible and which can be rejected at the 0.05 significance level, which again, based on what we did in section 2.3, means that alpha is equal to 0.05. So now we're going to use the applet and we're going to test a bunch of these null hypothesis probabilities. All we're going to do each time is change, as it says in the first bullet point here, change the probability of success to match the value that you're testing, and that's in the top row of these tables. And then everything else should stay the same. So for example, our first probability that we're testing under the null hypothesis is 0.54. So we want to know whether 0.54 is a plausible value. So I'm going to go to the applet, and I have everything in there that I had before. Now I'm going to change my probability of success to 0.54. That's what I want to test. And I'm going to draw samples. And everything else is staying the same. The 0.645 is still the statistic p-hat that goes in the count box. And I got a p-value of 0.021. So I had 8 dots in the left tail of the graph and another 13 in the right tail, for a total of 21 dots out of 1,000 that were at least as extreme as 0.645 in either direction. And I get a p-value of 0.021. So I'm going to fill in my two-sided p-value of 0.021, and I'm going to compare. I'll do this off to the side. 0.021 is less than my alpha significance level of 0.05. Therefore, I am rejecting the null hypothesis. Now I'm going to skip ahead and do 0.58. So I'm going to go back to the applet, and I'm going to put 0.58 in as my assumed value from the null hypothesis, and everything else stays the same. And now I got a p-value of 0.144, so I'm going to put in 0.144 in my two-sided p-value box, and now again I'm going to compare 0.144 to 0.05, and 0.144 is bigger than 0.05, therefore 0.58 is a plausible value for the parameter. The parameter could be 0.58. Now I'm going to skip to 0.72. So I'm going to go back to the applet, and I'm going to put 0.72 in for my null hypothesis value that I'm testing, and everything else stays the same. And now for my p-value, I got 0.064. Make sure that the two-sided box is still checked there. So 0.064 for my p-value. So I'm going to fill that in the table. Again, I was testing 0.72, and off to the side, I'm comparing 0.064 to 0.05, and 0.064 is bigger than 0.05, so that means 0.72 is a plausible value for pi. So I'm failing to reject the null hypothesis when my p-value is bigger than the significance level. That means if I can't reject the null hypothesis, that means the null hypothesis is plausible. And so 0.72 is a plausible value for pi. So now I'm going to stop this video here, and you're going to continue with the applet and fill in your different p-values and determine whether you have a reject or a plausible.